You grow up in a border town, a place where the map chokes on barbed wire and dust. Your father fixed outboard motors and kept his mouth shut. Not angry, just vacant. He spent every evening staring at the river that split two countries, waiting for the current to carry him somewhere that didn't require counting pennies. Your mother worked the post office until her joints turned to dry chalk. You drop out of community college at 19 because macroeconomics doesn't put gas in your beat-up pickup. You get a job at a salvage warehouse on the edge of town. Officially, your inventory. Unofficially, you're the guy people call when a part doesn't fit and they need a torch to make it work. You have a workbench in the back that doesn't exist on the floor plan. Nobody cares about that skill. Not yet. Marco rolls into the yard when you're 21. He's got a Land Cruiser with a fuel tank shredded by rebar and the eyes of a man who's seen the bottom of the ocean. The part he needs is 6 weeks out on back order. He can't wait 6 weeks. You don't tell him to kick rocks. You tell him to pull into the third bay. You patch the steel with an argon weld and a prayer while he smokes your cheap cigarettes and watches. You don't just sell him a part. You solve a problem that was supposed to be impossible. He comes back the next week, then the next. On the fourth visit, no car, just an envelope. He sits on your workbench and talks to you like you matter, asks if you're tired of being the best-kept secret in a dead-end town. That feeling is the product he's selling. Being a runner is 12 months of being a ghost. You drive empty vans, scout routes, and sit at gas stations for hours just to see if a tail develops. You sleep in the cab, eat cold noodles, and swallow the grit of backcountry roads. A guy named Rico sends you on a 300-mile round trip just to pick up a specific brand of espresso for his wife. You bring it back. He dumps it in the trash. The test wasn't the coffee. It was whether you'd go without asking why. You go. They bring you into the inner circle on a rainy Tuesday. Marco hands you the keys to a new apartment and a satellite phone, a device that feels heavier than it should. There's a party. Toasts are made. Marco pulls you aside. This phone means your problems are mine. It also means my problems are yours. It sounds like a promise. It's actually a price tag. For 3 years, it's flawless. Midnight runs through mountain passes. The adrenaline spike at the checkpoint with forged manifests you printed yourself. Sunday barbecues where everyone's kids play soccer together. They set you up with a legitimate logistics firm. Clean books. An office with your name on the door. Every special shipment in the region flows through your hands. You have status and respect. You think those are the same thing. The office is real. What fuels it isn't. You start noticing the details. A shipping container that's too heavy for its manifest. A sealed pallet in the back room you're told to ignore. Cash payments that don't match any service on the books. You choose not to ask. Then Marco sits you down. Calm. Friendly. Talking like a regional manager. The organization has interests. Fentanyl moving across 3 counties. Ghost guns in crates. Your firm will become the clearing house. The volume is small, just enough to justify the invoices. He asks if you're comfortable. The question is purely decorative. Marco runs the network like a company. Brotherhood is the brand. Revenue is the product. He tracks margins by territory and holds meetings with agendas. The old-school guys like Rico, who joined because they loved the risk, are getting pushed aside. Rico complains one night, says the business used to mean something different. Marco hears about it. Rico loses his long-haul route and gets reassigned to the loading dock. He's sweeping floors at 60. He doesn't complain again. A driver named Alex gets popped at the border. Distribution charge. Enough wait for federal time. The rule is simple. You go down, we take care of the family. Mortgage, school, lawyers. For 6 months, the money arrives like clockwork. Month 7, it drops. Month 9, it stops. Alex's wife calls Marco. No answer. You ask Marco about it. He says Alex made a tactical error, and resources are allocated based on operational utility. Alex isn't operational anymore. That's the sentence that rewrites everything you thought the family meant. You start sending Alex's wife $2,000 a month from your own cut. You don't tell anyone. It's not charity, it's insurance, because if it happens to you, you want to believe someone would do the same. You're probably wrong about that. You marry Elena. She bartends at a place the organization protects, grew up around the trade, knows the silence required. For a while, it works. Then the 3 a.m. burner calls start. Then the duffel bags in the closet she can't ask about. Then a member walks through your kitchen at midnight with blood on his jacket. She doesn't say a word. The silence between you develops a physical weight. There's one run you'll never forget. A convoy through the desert at dawn. 3 trucks, high speed, no lights, using night vision. The dust trail is a ghost in the moonlight. You're in the lead. For an hour, the job is exactly what you dreamed of. Pure skill. The world reduced to a GPS line. You stop at a diner as the sun hits the horizon. Everyone talks trash and watches the light change. It's the closest thing to peace you've felt since you started. You hold on to that memory like a drowning man holds on to wood. Because everything after that morning gets worse. A rival group pushes into your corridor. They torch a warehouse. They put a bullet in a dispatcher's leg. Marco handles it with corrections. You aren't pulling triggers, but you're the one fixing the cars they used to do it. You're the one washing the cash that funds the retaliation. Your hands are technically clean, but they smell like the exhaust of a getaway car. Your first real job comes on a Thursday. A warehouse owner in the next county has been paying the rivals. Marco wants a message sent. You go with Rico's replacement. You pick the lock. A skill you learned at the salvage yard, not the office. Inside, you're the lookout. You take $14,000 and leave a specific coin on the desk. You tell yourself you just stood by the door. You didn't hurt anyone. The rationalizing gets easier every time. And that's the part that should haunt you. Elena packs a suitcase on a Wednesday while you're at the office. Note on the table. She loves who you were, but she can't watch who you're becoming. Your mother calls you 3 days later. She's heard rumors. Small town. She asks if you're in trouble. You say no. She's quiet for a long time. Then she says, "Your father wasn't a bad man. He just stopped noticing when the water turned into a swamp. I watched him sink." Don't sink. She hangs up. It's the worst thing anyone's ever said to you because it's accurate. The feds start appearing in the margins. An unfamiliar sedan outside your office. A member gets popped on a minor charge and makes bail in 2 hours. Someone's talking. Marco feels it too. Phones rotate weekly. You do the math. 5 years. $4 million processed. Rico. Decades. Your life is now just a stack of surveillance photos in a filing cabinet. 2 agents find you at a gas station. They know your invoices, your offshore accounts, your wife's new address. They offer immunity for cooperation. You don't call. You go to Marco and tell him you're done. You leave the firm, the money, the state. He nods. If your name appears in a transcript, the arrangement ends. You know what that means. You load your tools into a truck and drive until the border is 1,000 miles away. Marco eventually cooperates anyway. He sells every name he ever knew to save himself. The man who ran Brotherhood like a corporation sold the corporation to buy his freedom. You land in a tiny town in Nevada. You repair lawnmowers and boat engines in a shop that smells like your father's. You live above a laundromat. The vibration of the machines at night sounds like a heavy diesel idling. You eat alone, not because you want to, but because you've forgotten how to connect without a hierarchy. A woman at the hardware store asks you for dinner. You go. She asks what you did before. You say you were a mechanic. She asks why you moved. You say you needed a change. She accepts it. You realize every relationship from now on starts with a lie and has a ceiling built into it. Sometimes you hear a truck on the highway. You know the gear shifts, the rumble builds, peaks, fades. Something tightens in your chest. The business doesn't run on greed. Greed is just the math. The business runs on the need to belong. Every recruit is a guy who felt invisible until someone gave him a radio and a purpose. That's the product. Belonging. The price is everything else. No retirement. No alumni dinner. Just a small shop and a sound on the road that used to mean home. That's a wrap. The story is fiction, but somewhere right now, a kid is looking at a map and seeing a way out. If this made you think, drop a comment, subscribe for more. See you in the next one.